As I come to the end of my 4 years serving as the United States Ambassador to Vietnam, I want to take a moment to reflect on what has been an extraordinary chapter, both professionally and personally. I arrived in Vietnam at a very unusual time. It was at the tail end of the COVID-19 pandemic, January of 2022, and like many others, experienced Vietnam first from isolation from quarantine. But, my time here during this COVID-19 crisis and even in the months before really did show the warmth and the cooperation, the partnership between our two countries, between the U.S. and Vietnam. When things were most difficult for the United States back in the spring of 2021, Vietnam supported us when we needed it most with personal protective equipment, some 450,000 masks and gowns and things like that we really needed at our time of crisis. When Vietnam needed help, the United States sent around 44 million vaccines, which helped to vaccinate 1/5 of the population. And so, with that kind of friendship, with that kind of partnership, we don't do it for some deeper meaning other than just we're friends, and that's what friends do for each other. This support for each other when we needed it most really was, for me, a first reflection of just how deep and warm our two countries' friendship and partnership had become, and really just showcase the resilience and the sense of community that are so prevalent here in this country. So here I am at Hanoi Post Office, Beauty in Hanoi, and I've been all the way in the north of Vietnam, all the way in the south. My first time coming here, so this is pretty exciting for me to see this place. Very iconic building. I'm standing in front of the well-known Am Gam Up, which has now been transformed into a more open, vibrant, and welcoming space. I was here nearly 20 years ago, and it's astonishing to me to see how much Hanoi has developed, how much Vietnam has developed in the last 20 years. In terms of what I'm most proud of, in 2023, we elevated our bilateral relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Of course, the highest level diplomatic relations that Vietnam has. And then, of course, 2025, we celebrated 30 years of bilateral diplomatic relations. Again, another chance to look back with pride on what we had accomplished, but also to make a promise for the future and think about what we could do together for the next 30 years. Our trade, investment, our economic partnership have all grown significantly. In 2024, two-way trade in goods reached $150 billion, and we expect that in 2025 and going forward, our trade and investment relationship will continue to deepen. In October, our trade ties further highlighted the joint statement on a framework for an agreement on reciprocal, fair, and balanced trade, which will provide the foundation for ongoing talks that we aim to soon conclude. Are very pleased with ongoing efforts to promote Vietnamese investment in the United States. In 2025, we had a record 130 Vietnamese delegates from over 80 companies participated in the 2025 Select USA Investment Summit, which we believe will continue to open new opportunities for trade and investment and building bridges between our two countries. Vietnam is now the 10th largest importer of U.S. agricultural products, and bilateral agricultural cooperation, such as trade, has increased by $3.9 billion over the past decade, supporting both farmers and consumers in each of our countries. Another area of cooperation that has increased significantly since I've been here has been defense and security cooperation. Our partnership in vital areas of protecting Vietnam's natural resources, protecting Vietnam's territorial integrity, its sovereignty. Our shared efforts have grown significantly as we've sought and developed joint efforts to promote and ensure the safety and prosperity of both of our countries. And so just last year, for example, the United States provided a third and final high-endurance Coast Guard cutter to allow Vietnam to better patrol its waters, to protect its resources and protect its interests. The United States also provided Vietnam with 12 T-6 training aircraft to allow Vietnam to nurture its next generation of pilots and promote stronger military aviation capabilities. Over the last 4 years, we've had major naval ship visits to Vietnam, For example, 3 years ago, we had the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier came to Da Nang. A couple of years ago, we had the 7th Fleet flagship, the Blue Ridge, that came to Cam Ranh. Last year, we had the USS Ramon Peralta. The USS Tripoli also came to Da Nang. And so these port calls and the hospitality shown by not just the Vietnamese government, but local communities to our naval vessels and our sailors really do show the depth of our country's cooperation and also the depth of the U.S. commitment to being present in the region and promoting regional stability and prosperity. 2 years ago, we launched a new law enforcement and security dialogue as promised by the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. And this dialogue, the second round of which we had last year, helps to advance our shared priorities, disrupting transnational organized crime, things like drug trafficking, trafficking of persons, online scam operations that harm both Vietnamese and American people. And we've also worked very hard on health cooperation. And this has been something we've been doing now for 20 plus years. When I was first here in 2004, PEPFAR, the President's Emergency Program for AIDS Relief was just getting off the ground, and we supported Vietnam in its efforts to fight the spread of HIV/AIDS. So this effort has continued for 20 years, but then, of course, through assistance on things like tuberculosis, of course, COVID-19, the United States working very closely with Vietnam to not just fight existing diseases, but also to reduce the chance of future unknown disease outbreaks from taking place and harming both of our peoples, in fact, causing global harm. And so with U.S. assistance, Vietnam now has 1,500 what we call disease detectives who can help to identify and respond to outbreaks and stop them at the source. So these individuals are spread throughout Vietnam in different provinces, and their presence helps to build a resilient and more responsive health system here, which again will benefit the region, benefit the world. I've been to dozens of schools, high schools, universities, colleges around the country. I've at least 5,000 in the 4 years I've been here, and it's been pretty great to meet these young people who have such big dreams and ambitions. Always one of my favorite parts of the job is meeting and talking with young people. But it's not just visiting schools here and meeting students, but it's also encouraging students to consider education in the United States. We're really proud of the fact we've got more than 30,000 Vietnamese students in the U.S., which makes Vietnam the 5th largest source of students studying in the U.S. But if you consider like online programs or homestays or single semester kind of shorter programs, that number of Vietnamese students who have a connection with the U.S. program jumps to 300,000 students a year studying with the U.S. program, and that's amazing. And we're just so proud of the fact that so many Vietnamese consider educational resources from the U.S. as part of their country's future. And in addition, we've got so many American institutions coming here, starting programs with Vietnamese counterparts. Examples like National Economic University partnering with Boise State University. We've got schools like Vinh Uni partnering with American schools like Cornell. And so these kinds of academic collaborative programs are also increasing opportunities for Vietnamese young people, Vietnamese researchers, Vietnamase academics, as well as American students and researchers and academics to exchange ideas and collaborate and hopefully improve their research and improve quality of life for people in both countries and, in fact, around the world. So humanitarian cooperation has been another really key aspects of our two countries' activities together. Over the last several years, the U.S. has provided more than $100 million in disaster relief and humanitarian assistance to Vietnam, including emergency support following some of the terrible typhoons and storms and floods that we've seen in recent years, including Typhoon Yagi in 2024, and then following the recent storms last year in 2025. In central and northern Vietnam, the U.S. provided $1.75 million in support. I had a chance to visit some of these places. I went to Lao Cai, I was in Long Son, and to see directly and work directly to help provide some of this support to communities and families in need. We've assisted in the construction of nearly 50 schools, many clinics, a number of bridges, disaster management, coordination centers, etc. We've been working hard to not just respond to immediate needs after a storm, but also to prepare for the next storm, to help strengthen resilience and promote community well-being. So, my connection to Vietnam is also deeply personal. My father served here many years ago during the war, and during my term as ambassador, I had the opportunity to return to the places connected to his experience here in the 1960s. Visiting these places in Da Nang and Hue, I was reminded just how far we've come, from enemies to the process of reconciliation to this new comprehensive strategic partnership, this friendship that we now enjoy. And so I was very proud to sign an MOU last October with the Ministry of Defense, reinforcing our shared commitment to address the legacies of the war. These programs include cleaning up dioxin at Bien Hoa Air Base. These programs include cleaning up unexploded ordnance in central Vietnam. These programs include assisting people with disabilities, as well as the continuing search for missing Americans from the war, as well as now working with Vietnam to hopefully identify and bring closure to families of Vietnamese martyrs themselves. And we were able recently to confirm the identity of 2 Vietnamese martyrs using DNA technology, cooperating with Vietnam. And so this is something that's going to continue, I think, going forward. And we hope to, again, through this effort, bring peace and closure to Vietnamese families the same way that Vietnam helped bring peace and closure to American families in the search for missing Americans from the war. And these efforts are and will continue to be the foundation of our relationship. I'll always be reminded by the tree that I planted in Quang Tri in honor of my father as part of an effort to reforest areas that have been cleared by landmines. And so through this tree and hopefully through many other things, the legacy of my family will continue to live here in Vietnam. Before the provincial reorganization, I visited 37 provinces, but I think after the reorganization, I can safely say I've been to every province. And I was here 20 years ago, and if you count all those provinces that I visited then, I've pretty much been everywhere, I'm proud to say. A few places I have yet to go. I will go in the future for sure. But one of the reasons I love to travel around so much is, of course, the embassy, yes, is here in Vietnam, but there's so much more to see outside of Hanoi. There's so much more to see outside the capital here. I've always taken great pleasure in visiting cultural sites outside of Hanoi. One of the ways we're able to help contribute to Vietnam's cultural patrimony is through the Ambassador's Program for Cultural Preservation. Over the years, we've helped with preserving 17 different cultural sites, and you'll see behind me here is one of the sites that we've helped to restore, one of Hanoi's 5 historic gates, Old Quan Trung. It's one of these 17, as I mentioned, Ambassador's Fund projects in Vietnam, which over the years has had a budget of about $1.2 million. Also, throughout my tenure here, I mentioned I've met with students at high schools throughout the country. I've met with students from universities, from colleges. I've met with entrepreneurs, with government leaders, and just the sense of energy and dynamism and enthusiasm that I always get from these conversations, this feeling of great optimism, positiveness about our 2 countries' future, our 2 countries' shared goals for prosperity, for security. I mean, these kinds of interactions are really going to be one of my most cherished memories here, and really do point to, I think, the notion that the United States and Vietnam, we have a shared destiny, we have a shared future. We are together working on areas like high-tech manufacturing, working on areas like semiconductors, on education. And so these are things that are going to continue to lead our relationship. We are very much committed to Vietnam's own goals of being a high-income economy, a high-tech economy, a digital economy. These are the things that will drive the U.S.-Vietnam relationship going forward. As I prepare to move on to wrap up my time here, I do it with great optimism, with great confidence. Of course, I'm also pretty sad to be ending my time here, but I end it confident that the ties between our 2 countries are strong. They've got a solid foundation built on trust and reconciliation and shared interests. And it's going to be the same foundation that drives us into the future and allow our 2 countries' ties to continue to grow in many, many years to come. And also, even though I am the one in front of the camera like this, I also want to acknowledge, we have between our embassy in Hanoi and our Consul General in Ho Chi Minh City, we have almost 1,300 people, men, women, Vietnamese, and Americans who work hard every day on behalf of this relationship. And we would not be here without them. We would not be able to say we've come this far in the 4 years I've been here without the great work of our American staff, our Vietnamese staff. So I just want to say thank you. So now we're here in Ho Chi Minh City, standing in front of the iconic postal building here. I'm so happy to be back to say goodbye to friends here in Ho Chi Minh City in the South. It's been just wonderful every time I've been here, whether it's Ho Chi Minh City, whether other communities in the South, the Mekong Delta, of course, Central Vietnam as well, Da Nang, Hue, Hue An. Just always the warmth and the hospitality of the people here have been amazing. And you know, for everything from the Friendship Festival that we had last year, Bridge Fest a couple of years ago, just the warmth, the creativity, the entrepreneurship of the people of Ho Chi Minh City and the people of the South will always stay in my heart, and I'm always looking forward to coming back and seeing my friends here.
The whole world never see it like this. Vietnam never see it like this. The US never see it like this. Everyone cooperate, get it like this. The whole world never see it like this. Vietnam never see it like this. The US never see it like this. Everyone cooperate, get it like this.
I'd just like to say that even though I'm always the one in front of the camera, we got a great team behind the camera as well. Our team that helps to put these clips and these wonderful videos together, introducing our embassy. And so I just want to say thank you to them. But you know, all this walking around has made me really want one of my favorite things here in Vietnam, a nice cup of cafe sữa đá. So let's go. Happy New Year! Chúc các bạn mã đáo thành công.